The stream is live.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Happy hump day. Mock. Make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast. If you haven't already, go and click subscribe, or you can put us in your pocket. You guys can save us for later. You can savor the flavor of the chicks. You can do that.
That's inappropriate.
Is it? Is it inappropriate? Only if you're a perv like you. Only. She totally is.
Guilty as charged.
You can save us for later. Put us in your pocket, put us in your fanny pack, put us in your backpack, put us wherever in your purse, whatever. Just save us for later. When you're in the treadmill, when you're doing the things, when you're running the errands. But subscribe to this podcast. Do it. Also, if you haven't checked out Healthy Cell, you should be doing that too. I don't know what you're waiting for, but you can get heart and vascular support. You can do that from Healthy Cell. That's what Mock takes for her heart, because
and my vascular health
for her ticker. You can visit healthycell.com/chicks. Use promo code chicks for 20% off your first order. Do it.
Do it. For sure. Also, I can't believe it, but we already have some super stickers to thank. And I have one that I have to thank from yesterday that we didn't get to because it came in at the very, very end of the show.
And we
closed out before we could thank Aaron Powers. Thank you very much for yesterday's super sticker. And Ernesto Gomez, thank you. Ernesto says, prayer request for my friend's daughter, Kaylee, who recently got into a bad car wreck and needs reconstructive surgery. Hug your babies anytime you can. Oh my gosh. Yes, prayers going up for Kaylee. Thank you, Ernesto, for letting us know about that and for everybody getting on board to help pray for Miss Kaylee.
Yes.
Okay, so, and then somebody already sent another one. Brenda Wilson says, Daisy for RNC chair.
Oh, yeah. They would really love that, I'm sure. They'd be like, listen, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the RNC chair stuff.
Not Daisy being RNC chair, but
they would never
talk about the RNC.
They would never allow it.
So, and actually that is one of the first headlines to get to. That is Ronna McDaniel has allegedly told Trump and has made it clear that she does plan to resign after the South Carolina primary, which means very, very soon, which is really, really great. And there's all kinds of names being thrown around as to who her replacement might be. Names I've never heard that are already within the RNC, but also names like Kevin McCarthy.
No.
I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think no.
Fundraiser.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is a lot of fun.
Job.
Can we just get Scott to do it? Yeah,
Scott Pressler.
Yeah, can we get Scott Pressler to do it and just be done with it? This is the thing.
Would never do it.
This is what enrages me about the RNC. They don't want outsiders to do it. That's
but that's exactly.
And that would be right. The greatest thing for the RNC, because he would be a great fundraiser and he would also be like the breath of fresh air that the RNC needs.
Yeah.
He's just so great. You know, Harmeet doesn't want to do it. You said before in pre-show, you said
she was tweeting yesterday that she was not interested, that she's now very happy what she's doing and that she tried and lost and she's moved on. So
idiots.
I don't
Bunch
know.
Of idiots for not letting her do that.
Yeah. So, but listen, I think it's great that this is an excellent development, right? Ronna needs to GTFO. We've been talking about this forever. So that
but we should. Fantastic. But she's actually giving suggestions as to who would be her replacement. No one should listen to her.
Right.
Exactly. Anybody it says, oh, it should be this person. We should be like, thank you, but no.
Yeah.
You don't get a say in that. Yeah.
Your judgment is not to be trusted.
No, period. It's like Taylor Swift's opinion about men. We don't. No.
You have a bit of a track record.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and ignore you on that.
Yeah. Also, the bill to impeach Mayorkas did not pass. People are furious, but apparently it was a procedural thing. They are going to reintroduce the bill to the floor as early as next week, so it's not over. But it does, once again, the Republican Party is looking like it's disorganized and it's a mess and it's completely chaotic, which it is. And so that doesn't look good. And also Mike Johnson's standalone aid to Israel bill failed. He did not get the votes for that. So it just is, it's bad. Like the RNC is, or not the RNC, but the GOP is, the House particularly, is in shambles. And it...
Surprise!
Right?
Surprise, everybody!
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's just not good right now. So we'll see what happens with Mayorkas. The whole thing, even if it does pass the House, it's never going to pass the Senate. So all of this is sort of just for show anyway.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening with the whole Mayorkas.
Yeah. It just shows you too, like, listen, Mayorkas should be impeached. He didn't do his job, but it also shows you when you're in government, you never get fired. I mean, seriously, you can like kill puppies on a stage and be like, oh, look at me killing the pup. And it's like, you still will get a pension.
Yeah.
It just shows, seriously, that it just solidifies how like entrenched they are once they get in there. Whereas in the private sector, if we did that piss poor of a job, bye.
I know. It's impossible to get rid of these horrible people. I know, it's infuriating. Also, speaking of people you can't get rid of, it kind of works like the union, right? Like unions protect the worst of the worst.
Yeah. So corrupt.
I'll never understand it. And teachers unions are often the worst. There was just a report out of 53. There are 53 schools in Illinois where there is not a single kid who passed the state math proficiency test.
My God.
53 schools, not a single kid passed. Not one.
Yeah. And then they're wanting to do all this DEI bull crap.
Yeah.
And and then they preach to us about like listen, what is it? Weingarten, is that her name? The Department of Department of Education.
Not Department of Ed. No, she's the union leader.
She's the union leader. Yeah. But I mean, like, this is the thing, like that chick will get up on a stage and preach to all of us about how, how education should be run. And it's like, the whole point of educating is educating. And these kids,
the whole point of it is the kids, and they never focus on the kids. They only focus on their own interests.
Right. Their own interests and money. And it's all corrupt. It's so corrupt. This is why I liked Vivek. He wanted to dismantle all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's he been?
I don't know.
I completely forgot about him until you just said his name.
He's probably taken a break. It's probably been a rough. I mean, think of how exhausted a lot of those people are. And they're like, you know what? I'm just going to go get a massage.
I'm just going to take a trip somewhere
and
do a little relaxing. Yeah, I don't blame him if that's exactly what he's doing. Cannot blame him a bit. You guys, reminder that the new super high tech, like generations ahead of all the technology out there for skincare, the new Gen 90 wrinkle treatment from Genucel is part of the most popular package that is over 70% off right now. You can get it by going to genucel.com/chicks. It is like steps beyond any other skincare product out there when it comes to like immediately making your skin go.
It does. It's a really good sound. Yeah. I use it on my forehead because I have the wrinkles on my forehead.
I mean, you don't, but like
I do. And it works, you guys. It's fantastic stuff.
It is like, and the fact that you can feel it working instantly, that's my favorite part. Cause you know how you just put on some products that's supposed to do amazing things. Right. And like, does it? I don't know. But this, you actually feel the tingling, the coolness. You can feel it working. So check it out. Genucel.com/chicks. Save all the money today when you do it. Do we have another one?
We do. We have another one.
Thank you. Curio23 says it's hump day. Also, Texas Taco Casa Wednesday for me. Daisy, you need to try them in Waco. Have you had that?
All about it. I've never had that. No. Listen, I'm all about the tacos. I am a taco girl. I eat them every single day. So I will try that in Waco. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
All right. So let's get into some news because there's a lot to get to. We've got the Tucker stuff going on. We've got the border bill crashing and burning yesterday. There's a lot of reaction to that. We've got Joe Biden, his brain breaking in real time while he was answering questions. Like there's just so much. And KJP had a banner day yesterday. So much to get to. Let's get right into it, shall we?
Yes.
Let's start with Joe Biden praising, like in very glowy terms, his VP. He's heard the rumors that he and Kamala don't actually get along, that it's all a big show. So he's clearly trying to quash those rumors. Here he is.
Let me just say we're really fortunate to have a real leader, a true friend, and an historic Vice President, Kamala Harris.
He's historic.
I not only ask her to join me, I love her. It's a good relationship. She's doing an incredible job. And
Is she? Is she doing an incredible job? Really? Has she been to the border? Like, what's going on?
What
She's
job
not.
is she doing exactly? I would
Yeah.
love
Well,
to know.
she's being historic, kind of like KJB is historic, right? KJP, sorry,
Yeah.
is historic. That's what she's doing. So she's being female and black.
And black, sort of.
Mhm.
I mean, she's not
Kind of, right. Like
exactly black, but
kind of
she's-
Obama black. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Or and even less so, honestly.
So yay, you have melanin in your skin. Yeah.
Good job.
Yay,
Good
for
job
you.
about your vagina and your melanin.
Good
Way to go.
you. Yay. That's great. Historic.
Yeah, super historic. So he started
Mhm.
out with that. And then, of course, immediately, as we talked about yesterday, this whole border fiasco, the fact that there was this bipartisan bill put forth that was a disastrous bill, despite any word that you hear to the contrary, there was way more wrong with it than there was right. Their spin is going to be that Republicans don't care about the border. They're making this political and it's all Trump's fault. So they're going to be pushing this really, really hard. And they've got their leader, Biden, straight at the top doing exactly that.
now, all indications are this bill won't even move forward to the Senate floor. Why? A simple reason. Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump thinks it's bad for him politically. Therefore, he doesn't, even though it helps the country, he's not for it. He'd rather weaponize this issue than actually solve it.
Right.
So for the last 24 hours, he's done nothing, I'm told, but reach out to Republicans in the House and the Senate and threaten them and try to intimidate them to vote against this proposal. And it looks like they're caving. Frankly, they owe it to the American people to show some spine and do what they know to be right.
I am reading a teleprompter poorly. At this point, they should just like show us the teleprompter. He shouldn't even get on a stage. We should just read it because that's what he's doing.
Stand there.
He shouldn't even stand there. They should just like let us just put it on the screen and let us read it because he's useless. He just reads. He has no idea what he's reading. Just let us read the teleprompter because I could do a better job and I could do it quicker. I mean, God, he's so useless, this guy. And this is such gaslighting.
I know.
The ultimate where everybody knows this is gaslighting. You can look at the data from 2020. Oh my God, they were like the border crossings were what? Like 400,000 in 2020. And now it's in 2023, it's 2,476,000. This is not because of Trump. You know what I mean?
And normal people know it, but of course there's a whole bunch of idiots out there who are like, this is completely Republicans wanted everything in this bill. And then when they were handed it to them, then like we called their bluff and look, it's all their fault. I mean, they're really pushing this. In fact, Biden wasn't done blaming Trump. He does it more right here.
Every day between now and November, the American people are going to know that the only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends. It's time for Republicans in the Congress to show a little courage, to show a little spine.
Dude, you're the one who reversed everything he did. So you're the one who could have showed a spine and some balls and just kept it in place. But because you had such TDS, you're the one who effed all this up.
Does he think that people are going to forget that like he tried to go and force Abbott to stop putting up the razor wire, which has now worked beautifully? People don't forget that stuff.
Well, we don't.
We're on to you, Biden.
We don't forget it. But the bleeding heart liberals are just like, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen.
God, I mean,
it is. It's unreal, isn't it? It's like you go on Twitter and the liberals are just like, oh yeah, this is totally Trump's fault. It's totally Republicans' fault. What planet am I living on?
I know.
Extreme gaslighting 101.
Yeah. It's out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And then came the moment, and we know that anytime Biden is in front of people and left to his own devices, there's going to be something that he says that's insane, or that his brain is going to break in real time. And that's exactly what happened when he was asked a question about Hamas, whose name he couldn't remember mid-answer.
Right.
And then he had to get a little help from the journos that were in the room. This is unbearable.
There is some movement, and I don't want to, or maybe choose my words. There's some movement. There's been a response
Oh my God.
from there's been a response from the opposition, but yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas.
Yeah, you are sorry.
But it seems to be a little over the top. We're not sure where it is. There's a continuing negotiation right now.
Mhm. Yeah. And then he has the audacity to say that we don't have a spine and we don't have balls. This guy is like, I have no idea where I am. I have no idea who Hamas is. I mean, I wish that person in the audience didn't help him.
I know.
Stop helping this guy. Seriously. He's running for president again.
Yeah.
Stop enabling him. Stop helping him. It's elder abuse at this point, but stop it. Oh my God.
They won't stop. They are totally, it's like that picture I sent to you yesterday. Did you post that on Instagram? How like he is a statue that is being
held up
by every single media outlet.
Yeah. It's, you know what it is? It's Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
he's
exactly right.
literally being held up, and the guy, he's brain dead, and they're holding him up.
He's so slurry. So he was at some small gathering where he was trying to say, it's kind of hard to hear, but basically what he's saying is, inflation's going down. Like we got to get a handle on these prices, and there's some corporate greed that's happening too. And then there's just a bunch of slurring. And so here it is.
We have the best economy in the world. Inflation is coming down.
Really?
There's still too expensive, too much expense, and a little bit of corporate greed going on too, nationwide. There's a little article written. You got your connection to it. It's called. There's about what's happened with the Snickers bars.
What?
Snickers bars, that candy. Yeah. Well, they haven't raised the price of a Snicker bar. They just took 10% of it out.
Oh my God.
What is he doing?
What? He is 1,000 years old. It's crazy. How can anybody want to vote for this guy? He's just out of his freaking mind. And where is inflation decreased exactly? Somebody tell me where it's decreased.
Well, it's decreased from Biden's highs, but prices have not decreased at all. The inflation rate has decreased.
My husband even said to me yesterday, this is just one example. Like we have to kill a bunch of weeds in our backyard. Okay. Like we have a bunch of rock back there, but there's like weeds coming up through the rock. And he's like, I need to get some weed killer. Weed killer used to be like $20 for a bottle of like regular weed killer. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's like $80. Yeah. That's what Greg was telling me yesterday. He goes, I went to the store. He goes, I didn't buy any. He goes, but I'm probably like, I guess we got to get it at some point, but this is the kind of stuff that people don't talk about, right? I mean, that has increased exponentially. Everything has increased. So show me where inflation has decreased. Yeah, I know somebody's like Ginger says, just use bleach. We probably could do that, and I probably will, because $80? Are you joking? It's armed robbery. But
that's what he says is corporate greed. He recognizes that prices haven't decreased. The inflation rate has. Prices, they still have to work on those mean, greedy corporations to bring the prices down. He genuinely believes that. It's all the greedy companies' fault.
Oh yeah, it's definitely it's all their fault. Well, of course, because corporations are the devil in what should be a free market America. They hate corporations. They love big government. Good Lord, it's all backwards.
Eugene Heiger, thank you. Eugene says the 4 Republicans that voted against the impeachment are Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, Ken Buck of Colorado, Tom McClintock of California, and Blake Moore of Utah. But Blake is the one that wants to impeach, but procedurally knew that they didn't have the votes, and so now they're going to anyway, it's going to be voted on again. It may very well pass the House again.
It won't go through the Senate.
It doesn't matter. It's all just a big show,
right?
Curio 23, thank you. Curio says just waiting for them to use a hologram and AI voice for Biden. At this point, they should, because it looks so bad otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and use a hologram from 10 years ago. And not now, because it's just embarrassing at this point.
Sherry Watson, thank you. Sherry says, happy birthday to my BFF Kelly. Looking forward to Envy. Yeah. Indy
So
is
excited.
happening. It is happening soon. Hey, can I show my screen before we get to other
Yeah.
stuff? I wanted to show my screen about our friends at Patriot Mobile because they do the coolest stuff, you guys. So we've told you about them before. This is like the easiest way to avoid sending your money to the main 3 phone networks who are going to use it not just to take care of their expenses, but also for causes that you likely don't believe in and definitely don't support. Whereas Patriot Mobile, who gives you the same access to those networks, they use a good portion of your money to actually support conservative causes. And so you don't lose any kind of service. You don't lose customer service. You don't lose cell service. All of that stuff remains the same. And in fact, you may save money on your plan. But Patriot Mobile does the coolest stuff with the extra money that you're sending. So, for example, because, you know, they have those 4 pillars that they support. They always talk about supporting freedom of religion and speech, freedom to carry, freedom to live, but the pro-life causes, and supporting first responders and veterans. So, for example, their team took part of the March for Life just a couple weeks ago. They were the premier sponsor at the SHOT Show,
which is awesome.
Vegas. Let's see what else they do. They won an award, Ladies' Choice Award for Best Cell Service. They sponsored the Dallas Safari Club convention for wildlife conservation. So they do actual really good things with some of your monthly cell bill. And this is how you vote with your wallet, right? There's no better example of voting with your wallet than supporting a company that you know is using your money in the right ways. And you can get free activation when you use code CHICKS at patriotmobile.com/chicks, or you can just call 878-PATRIOT. That's 878-PATRIOT. You should do that, you guys. Okay, let's get back to some stuff because, as you know, we already heard the border bill didn't go anywhere. KJP got asked about that by Peter Doocy, and you know how good it is.
Oh God, it was so great.
Peter Doocy asks the questions.
So great.
So he started off strong.
Thank you. So you guys talk a lot, including today, about how the border wouldn't be such a big deal if Congress would have just passed your immigration bill on day one. Who was in charge of Congress on day one?
So it's been 3 years. It's been three whole years. More than 3 years.
Okay.
More than 1,000 days.
You're not answering the
And
question.
look, this is a difficult issue, obviously. This is a difficult issue.
What the hell kind of answer is
And
this?
what we have said is that Congress has to act, right? Congress, Democrats, Republicans have to act. But
Blah.
in those 3 years,
Blah.
it is true that Republicans have to. They just have, Peter. They have consistently used immigration, the immigration system, the broken system, as a political stunt. That's what they've done. They've gotten in the way
Such
of trying to
bullshit.
get more Border Patrol agents. They've gotten in the way in actually trying to fix what's happening, the challenges at the border.
Oh my God. Shut up,
So,
lady.
I mean, they
the
voted.
Democrats
They've
that were in
actually
charge for the first
voted.
2 years, no responsibility.
It has.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Democrats have not been in control the first 2 years. That's
You
not what I'm
ignored
saying.
it.
I'm saying House Republicans have gotten in the way. They have. They have purposefully
my
gotten in
God.
the way in trying to fix what's happening at the border.
Such liars. You
Does
lie.
she believe her own self? Do you
Yeah,
think?
probably because she's also mental. These people, they're just despicable because for years they ignored it. She ignored it, the administration ignored it, and then all the media that supports them, the Democrat propaganda machine, they all ignored it. Y'all remember? They all ignored it. We talked about it. Fox talked about it. They were the only ones. Maybe Newsmax, they talked about it. That's it. That's totally it. And then the rest of them ignored it until it was a problem because the DeSantises of the world and the Abbotts of the world started shipping illegals their way. And then they were like, oh, crap, I guess we got to thumb up our butts. I guess we have to pay attention to this. I guess it's an invasion. Yeah, Al Sharpton, it's an invasion. I mean, it's just despicable. And now they're going to try to turn it around and put it on Republicans. Everybody knows that they ignored this.
And everybody knows that Democrats only care about it right now because it's an election year.
Right.
And now they have their own mayors all over those Democrat cities that the illegals are being shipped to complaining. And when they
Right.
complain, that's when they get heard. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
that Republican governors and mayors have been bitching about this for years. Once Democrats start chiming in, oh, this is affecting us now. Then all of a sudden the White House is, oh, well, we can't have that in an election year.
Yeah.
We gotta pretend like we care about this now.
Yeah,
all
and
such nonsense.
it's very convenient too. You know, when you see on the news that these illegals are beating up cops and they're hurting old women. You know, they're trying to. I mean, this is the thing. The crime has gone up exponentially because of them.
Mhm.
And it's like now all of a sudden it is a problem. Like it's been a problem for years, but now all of a sudden they're like, crap, we have to pay attention because of all these ripple effects that are happening all over the country that we've been screaming about for years. We're like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. No one paid attention. And now all of a sudden they're like, crap, I guess we have to pay attention. And we're going to somehow try to pin it on the Republicans. Screw you.
Well,
I
if the
mean-
RNC, whoever they use to replace Ronna, if they had any sense at all, they would simply create the biggest montage of videos of Mayorkas, of the president, of KJP saying the border is secure.
secure.
The border
Yep.
is secure. There is no
Right.
crisis at the border. The border is secure. Just
Right.
put that on a loop in an ad and play it during the
Mhm.
Super Bowl.
Right.
That's your
Oh
ad
my God, right? But they won't do it because
won't do it.
we suck at PR. Right. But you're absolutely 100% correct.
I mean, this is so easy to debunk their current
It
narrative,
is.
but the RNC doesn't like to do anything that's easy. They just like to buy
Spe-
limos and floral
Right.
arrangements.
spend money on like Botox. Exactly.
KJP also wanted to make sure to stand up for Mayorkas when asked about him.
With the president saying today that the border is not secure and Secretary Mayorkas saying under oath to Congress that it is.
Here's what I will say. Secretary Mayorkas has done everything that he can do
Really?
and to deal with what's going on at the border.
Oh, okay.
And to deal with the broken immigrations, to the point where he was part of this negotiation process that we saw the Senate go through. The president has confidence in the secretary, and I think that's what matters.
Yeah, that
Well, it
that
matters.
should matter to the voters if he has confidence in this schmuck. I mean, the cover they're giving this guy.
Right?
Why?
It's amazing.
Why? I don't like what is the purpose of that? I don't I guess the only purpose would be is that they just want more Democrat voters. That's it. It's on purpose with purpose. That's what they're doing. Because man, the cover is gross.
It is vile. And the fact that they don't, I mean, at this point, they could have used him as a fall guy. They could
Right.
have
They
easily thrown him under the bus and then just like, redid some of the old Trump policies.
Yep.
And it would have actually looked good for them. But
Perfect scapegoat. Yep. He would
They
have been
rallied.
the perfect one. Yep. But they're like, oh no, he didn't do anything wrong. Oh my God. Are you serious? Wow.
Speaker Johnson had some things to say after the border bill obviously just got sort of tanked yesterday. So here was his part of his presser.
And that is why I declared it dead on arrival, and it looks like right now it may be in some jeopardy. It may be on life support in the Senate. We welcome that development because this is a matter that must be addressed in a manner that actually solves the problem. We have been urging from day one, literally the day that I took the gavel in late October, been urging the Senate, urging the White House to consider the provisions of H.R. 2. Why? Because our Secure the Border Act has the necessary components to solve the problem. We restore remain in Mexico, we end catch and release, we reform the asylum broken system, the broken parole process and policy this administration has been pursuing, and we built wall. Those things are necessary to solve the problem, and everybody knows it. It's not Republican talking points, it's the objective fact. We took 64 House Republicans down to the border in January 3rd. I know I sound like a broken record, but, the White House doesn't get it. The people in charge in the Senate don't get it. Chuck Schumer doesn't understand it or care. But what we saw with their own two eyes, I don't know when Chuck Schumer went to the border last. I'm not sure he's ever been. But I can tell you what we saw, an absolute humanitarian catastrophe. Broke our hearts and infuriated us at the same time. It cannot continue. And the people on the border who are charged with enforcing it are the ones who told us that those are the necessary components to fix it.
Yeah. And most importantly, it's a single issue bill. Like that's what we need is a single issue bill. Like I'm so sick of all these. Let's try to put $60 million of Ukrainian pension support in this bill when I don't want to pay that. Stop it. Make these bills single issue bills. That's what everybody wants.
He tried with the Israel one and that just absolutely went nowhere.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to say, and maybe this is true, that the Republicans wanted border security. The Democrats wanted Ukraine funding. And so the Republicans said, the only way we can even talk to you about Ukraine funding is if our own border security is part of the package. So that's why those things were tied together, apparently. But still, I mean, the fact that Ukraine was getting $60 billion and our border was getting what, 14 billion?
Right.
I mean, it's so ridiculous.
It's mad. It's absolute freaking madness. Like, take Ukraine away. Like, we are bleeding. Like, we should come first, and the fact that they had more money for Ukraine is like, everybody, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, independent, whoever, everybody should be pissed off about that. That Ukraine is going to get more money than we are. What is wrong with these people? Like, you should be ashamed of yourself to even suggest that. Seriously, what's wrong?
They have no shame. We know that. We know that's
God.
true. And JD Vance, he had it, you guys.
Yeah.
He said all the words.
And thank God.
If you had a bill that said we're going to legalize 12 million illegal aliens, every single Republican, I hope, would vote against it. But we're not committing ourselves to voting for this thing just because we entered the negotiation. And the idea that and you hear this from some of our leadership, and hopefully they will stop, the idea that we committed to supporting whatever came out of this negotiation is pure, unadulterated bullshit.
Yep.
We supported a negotiation to bring common sense border security to this country. We did not agree to a border fig leaf to send another $61 billion to Ukraine.
Boom.
There you go. Right there. And that's the thing. That's what they just don't understand. And so Democrats will run with it and be like, oh, they don't want to fix the border. No,
right.
We don't want to give more money. Like, this is a Ukraine bill. You asshats.
With like a little sprinkle of border.
Yeah. It's like, there in no way or fashion is this an America First bill. Is this a border bill? This is a Ukraine bill because Ukraine gets more money. What is wrong with these people?
They
hate America. They hate it.
Steve Daines also furious.
Look, President Biden inherited a secure border. The numbers, as was pointed out earlier, were in pretty good shape. He made it worse on day one. This is cause and effect. It wasn't like he inherited a crisis on the southern border. He inherited numbers that were some of the lowest we'd seen in many, many years. He made it.
And then came McConnell, Ted Cruz was so mad at McConnell for this entire charade that he was just like, you need to step down. Like, this looks really, really bad that you're trying to throw Langford under the bus when you really are the one that orchestrated this entire thing. And so McConnell was asked about that.
Leader McConnell. Senator Ted Cruz had a press conference around noon today, said that you shouldn't have even tried to negotiate with Democrats, said this bill was designed to fail, and that it's time for you to step down as GOP leader. What's your response to that?
I think we can all agree that Senator Cruz is not a fan.
Leader McConnell. The president came out and he pointedly put the blame on Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump is to blame for the failure of this bill. Was Trump's opposition too much for you to overcome?
Well, I've said repeatedly every month I'm not going to get into comments about the race for the presidency among Republicans. I think in the end, even though the product was approved by the Border Council that endorsed President Trump, most of our members feel that we're not going to be able to make a law here. And if we're not going to be able to make a law, they're reluctant to go forward.
God, he is such a tortoise.
I know.
I swear.
And we're at such a standstill, like absolutely nothing can get done with the way our Congress is organized.
The lobbyists who wrote it it's not Trump's fault. The lobbyists who wrote the stupid ass bill should be blamed for the failure of the bill. It's not Trump's fault. It's the people who wrote it and actually had the audacity to put in $60 gajillion of Ukrainian aid. Nobody cares about that right now. It should be a single issue bill. If it's not, then don't submit it.
Well, and that's exactly what happened. That's why it got tanked.
Right.
Democrats, again, they're going to use this. They're going to spin it, and they are trying. Here, first is Jamie Raskin.
To go forward.
Them playing games and their sinister political ploy of stripping aid to Israel away from aid to Ukraine and aid for humanitarian assistance to Gaza. The president had advanced a complete package and had agreed to include the border measures as part of it. And in a desperate effort to just sink the whole package, they've now separated out Israel. But of course, President Biden has said he will veto that sinister political maneuver. And
sinister?
You know what I would love?
Sinister.
It's because he likes using that word just to describe Republicans. I would love for Democrats to say, we will do whatever it takes to fix the border as long as it takes. I'd love for them to say that about the border like they say about Ukraine.
Yeah.
As long as it takes, whatever it takes. But they don't do that because that's not their priority, because they don't care, because they hate America. They hate it.
Rob Reiner, he got the biggest self-own because people can always find his previous tweets. And this is just an example of how their narrative is going to be completely shattered. So back in February of 2019, he said, the only reassuring thing about a pathological liar is when he says something, it's not true. There is no crisis at the border.
Interesting.
That's what he said
back
in a year ago. Or not a year ago, but like on the exact date, February 6th in 2019. And fast forward to yesterday, it's simple. Donald Trump and the House Republicans don't give a flying F about fixing our border problems. What border problems, Rob Reiner? You just got done telling us there weren't any.
Right. This is what they've all been saying for years, that there's not a problem. There's not a problem. There's not a problem. The border's secure. The border's secure. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, fentanyl's killing people. What? Yeah, it's like Republicans want fentanyl to kill people. I'm sorry. What, meathead? Yeah. It's unbelievable. The gaslighting, and it's blatant. It's like they all got their marching orders in the news, like the Mikas and the Joes. They all got their orders. Okay, now this is what we're going to do, and go.
Yep, exactly. And I feel like he's one of the people that may have said that he was going to leave Twitter once Elon took it over, and yet
still there. Yeah, just like Cher was going to leave the country when Donald Trump. None of them left. Go already. Go.
I know.
We'll help you. We'll help you pack. We'll totally help you.
Morning Joe, super mad about the fact that this border bill got tanked, and he is super, super, super mad at Speaker Johnson in particular, as you will hear in this absolute diatribe, which is happening now. Right now. Second now.
Right now.
It's gonna happen.
By any honest reckoning, this is says the Wall Street Journal editorial page. By any honest reckoning. But that's something Mike Johnson wouldn't know anything about. By any honest is the word, Mikey. Look that up in your Bible that you've made up. By any honest reckoning. This is the most restrictive migrant legislation in decades. Previous immigration talks have involved trading security measures for legalizing more immigration. There is little of that in this bill. This is almost entirely a border security bill, and its provisions include longtime GOP priorities that the party restrictionists could never have passed only a few months ago. Are you listening, Mikey? Just because Donald tells you to jump doesn't mean that you have to put America's security at risk.
Yeah.
He's not including, they're taking part and parcel out of that.
Right.
And they're making it look like, oh yeah, but they're not including the fact that we're still letting in tons of illegals, giving them tons of freebies, doing the thing. It doesn't help. It's not stopping the bleeding. It doesn't help. There should be zero. We should allow 0 people in, and we should be enforcing the laws that are on the books. And anything less than that is absurd at this point.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me that there's even a fight about that. Like, I can't even believe that the bill, I get that they only have just a few people working on the negotiations, but how did they not know at that level that they're not going to get support for what they're negotiating?
Yeah.
It's just dead in the water.
I want to ask him, like, okay, so what you're saying is you would tolerate, a couple people breaking into your house every year. That's in essence what you're saying about this bill, that we as Americans should tolerate, 5,000 a month people breaking into our house every single month or whatever, because that's essentially what they're saying. And then giving them free shit, paying for them to have free lawyers. We're paying for their lawyers. We're paying for their healthcare. We're paying for their educations. We're paying for, so we have to suck it up and do that. So you should be okay with people breaking into your house, Joe. You should be.
And then you can have a locked door.
Right.
Then you can have one.
Yeah, you can't have the locked door until 2 or 3 a month break into your house and take stuff out of your house, and you have to pay for them, and you have to pay for and pay for their lawyer after they break into your house. If you're okay with that, if you and Mika are okay with that at your little Cape house with the gate around it, because they have a big gate around their house. If you're okay with that, then maybe we can talk. And after you pay for their lawyers. They're so full of crap. These people's eyes are brown.
Well, and unfortunately, John Fetterman, who has been so good on the Israel stuff, he's reverted. He's regressed. His therapy is not going as well as it was, because now he's talking about this bill and saying that Republicans need to remove their balls from Trump's desk.
Deal that was reached in the Senate.
Yeah, well, I've said this before. It's time for the GOP to get their balls out of Trump's desk and stand for border security, because they've been yelling for it for months, and that's where I'm at with it.
Well, he obviously hasn't read it. He hasn't read the bill. And again, I say the same thing to him. Are he and his wife willing to take illegals in and then also have people break into their house? What are you willing
just
to
up
accept?
to a certain threshold,
right?
I mean, we're not asking them to take endless, just like 4,999, and then they can have the locked door.
Exactly.
Then it's fine.
Until then, you have to accept those people and just deal with it, and then pay for their lawyers and pay for all their crap.
Right. Colleen has an idea for your weed killer. She says use white vinegar. It's cheap and it won't hurt anything.
Okay.
So try that.
This.
Anastasia 63. Thank you. KJP is so full of it. I saw her on IG when I was scrolling, and almost every comment was telling her to take a hike. Yeah, on IG, they're the White House, and she's not popular. Kim Fournier, thank you so much. Kim says immigration law proposals have been rejected by the House and Senate for decades. This is just rerun of previously proposed laws. Yeah, I mean, until there's a huge Republican majority, which God knows if that is ever going to happen. I just don't know how this is ever going to get fixed. Paula Johnson, thank you. Paula says, but why when KJP repeats the same BS answer every time, no one follows up with a response, right? Well, she does pick. I mean, Peter tries, and then she's like, no. She'll talk over him. That's what happens.
And he's the only one.
Unfortunately, that's
everybody
true.
else in that room. Talk about having no balls. Oh my gosh.
I know, right? God. As you know, as we've been talking about endlessly, the world is borked, and it's just going to get borkeder.
Borkier. I think it's borkier is the proper conjugation of borked.
So all we're saying is maybe just have a backup plan. Like, don't rely on the stock market and your 401k to be what sustains you in retirement. Think about having a lot of eggs in different baskets. And one of those extra baskets that you might consider is precious metals, and specifically gold, which oftentimes holds its value and grows in the craziest stock market periods. So, and now that, there's the BRICS block to worry about, all these countries banding together, our currency getting weaker, this is a really great time to at least get informed about what precious metals can do to diversify your portfolio. And there's nobody better at informing you than Birch Gold. The best part is that they do it for free. So when you text the word chicks to 989898, you will get a free information kit that is super, super easy to understand, even for people like me, that's finance, that's not my forte at all. But they make it super easy to understand it, and it's free, and there's no obligation. So please text the word chicks to 989898. Get that free information kit. And then if you absorb it and decide it's not for you, that's okay. Because again, there's no obligation. Just text 989898, the word chicks, 989898.
So many good suggestions for weed killer. Thank you guys. Jessica, thank you for the wonderful suggestions. I love this. Thank you. Because I'm not spending
to a gallon, add 1 cup of salt and 1 tablespoon.
I love it. I'm not spending $80 on weed killer. I'm not doing it. Yeah.
Doesn't sound like
I
you
draw
need to.
the line. Yeah.
Okay, I know everybody can't stand her. I know this, but you guys, when KJP looks bad, it is highly entertaining to me, like super entertaining. And so I thought, I know everybody hates her, and I obviously do too, but when she looks bad, it's amusing, right? So let's be amused. Let's be amused. Because first of all, KJP was asked about credit card debt, which is one of the factors in Bidenomics that is not looking good for him. So many people the whole credit card industry, like people are trillions of dollars in debt on credit cards because they can't afford to live on their paycheck.
Right.
They're having to supplement with credit card debt. And so KJP was asked about that. I think in almost every answer, when she's stumped and she knows she's got a hard question, she'll start out by saying, so look, that's her favorite start when she's trying to buy some more time.
Let me be clear.
But this time it's so look, this is her new one. And so the first clip is about this credit card.
The Federal Reserve just released a report today saying that Americans have $1.13 trillion in credit card debt, which is now another record. Is there an affordability crisis?
So, look, what we have been seeing, as you know, from the data has been very clear here, that wages are going up, consumers are spending a lot more, and it's important. Wages are meeting inflation. That's important. And obviously, inflation has gone down. And I think that's important as well. You got to look at the holistic components of the data. And I think that tells you a story of where we are as an economy.
Yeah, she's wrong. She's so full of crap. She, again, with the eyes being brown, so full of crap. So you can go to the website layoffs.fyi. And in January, there were like 23,000 layoffs. Like people, it's like the wages are not meeting inflation. They're not. That's a total lie, absolute lie. And then like the people are losing their jobs. We're seeing tech layoffs. Like we were talking about layoffs the other day. We're talking about how there's layoffs all over the place. So she's absolutely full of crap. They're making stuff up at this point.
Well, and they're cherry picking for sure. Like the data that they use to talk about, consumer spending, they will always fluff up their numbers by, and especially when they're talking about prices. Well, prices are great and wages are meeting price increases. They'll leave out gas, food, and mortgages, right? So they'll look at the cost. Which is the point.
The most important stuff, right?
Credit card debt is because they can't afford the basics.
They can't afford to live.
They won't factor those specific things in, and so it's all a complete scam. But people, they will believe it.
I feel like gas, food, and mortgages are probably the most important things on your list.
Right.
It's like what else is important? Honestly, you got to have a roof over your head. You got to get to work and you got to eat.
Yeah.
So to leave those things out is so disingenuous and gross. But okay.
I don't have the details on why Mike Johnson's standalone Israel bill didn't pass. I don't know who voted against it, but as was made clear earlier, Biden planned to veto that anyway. They asked KJP that in the presser yesterday if that was still the case, and she did not mince words.
Yesterday, the White House Office of Management and Budget said that the president would veto a standalone Israel aid package coming out of the House. Is that still the case?
Yeah, that's still the case.
They should do it. They should try to figure out a way to pass it so that he has to veto it. I would love for him to explain that. Explain why you're vetoing a standalone Israel aid package. Go.
Yeah, especially after they've given they have said whatever it takes for Ukraine. Like, I don't understand the difference. Somebody's going to have to explain to me the difference because I honestly don't get it. I guess it's because, Hunter doesn't have any shady business partners in Israel.
Right.
Is that why? So Joe doesn't have to scratch any backs there. Is that, I'm assuming that's my assumption. It's the only assumption I can make, because I just don't get the difference.
She was also asked about the Super Bowl. You know how Joe Biden's not going to do the Super Bowl interview, which is just one more way of him hiding. I mean, they don't want him to do that interview, that he would look awful in front of 81 million people. And so the spin that she tries here is like, this is my favorite clip, I think, because she's like, well, people are just really interested in the game. That's why.
Oh, yeah.
Anything specifically on why you're not doing the Super Bowl interview? I mean, that's a massive audience in an election year of people who may not be tuned into this White House or this election at this moment.
So look, as you know, Super Bowl is a great annual tradition. Look, the president President Biden looks forward to watching the game this Sunday, just like millions of, as you just stated, just like millions of Americans are going to be doing that. And look, we hope that the viewers who tuned in, we know that the viewers who tuned in, they tuned in to watch the game, right? And so obviously, that is just a fact. They want to see the game. They want to see their favorite team. They want to see a halftime show. That is what it's that type of tradition. The president will find many other ways to communicate with Americans, the millions of Americans out there, and we will find those ways to do it where we think the time is right.
Man, they are
what a bunch of crap.
They are scrambling at this point. They are like, what are we going to do with this guy? Which just makes me believe, even more that come, April, May, it's going to be somebody else. They are freaking out about this guy. He can't talk.
I think they'll just do what they did last time, which is have all of his surrogates out in force and they'll hide him. They'll just keep him hidden. Oh my God. And he won last time. That's what worked for him last time. So they'll do it again.
Oh my God. He cannot do another 4 years. Well, I mean, I guess that fares well for us, because at some point he's got to talk to Trump. I mean, at some point, they've got to go toe-to-toe on something. Otherwise, he's going to look like a giant wuss. They've got to do something, the two of them together. I mean, wow. It's just, it's pathetic at this point, you guys. And he can't do it. He cannot withstand that.
That's why it has to happen, because we have to see that happen.
Yeah, we do. We do.
There was somebody else that pressed her on the fact that Biden is hiding, that he is simply not dealing with the press, and of course she denies it.
Question. I mean, the president seemed pretty explicit, and I asked this in addition to the context of Friday, where he'll be hosting the German chancellor, and it doesn't appear like there's a press conference on the schedule. That's another one of these foreign leader visits, and skipped his Super Bowl interview. So it just seems, again, like we're in one of these instances where the president is not communicating with the press.
I mean, look, seriously, stay tuned. that is the answer for you. Look, the president took questions yesterday, took questions today, so I wouldn't say that he is not engaging with the press. I would not say that, because he does. When we have more to share on later this week, what Thursday might look like, or Friday with the German chancellor coming, certainly as it relates to the press component, certainly we will share that. It really truly is stay tuned.
Look, it's stay tuned.
So look, just
look, keep looking.
Oh my God. And you guys, the very best one. So did we play the clip? I think we did, or maybe I don't remember if we played it or not, but there was a moment that Joe Biden was trying to tell a story about sitting down recently with the president of Germany, Mitterrand, who was the French president and who died in 1996. So not only did he not remember where that president was the president of, he actually said, after I was elected, I sat down with President Mitterrand of Germany. That's what he said. And everybody was like, oh my God, he is so totally lost it. So Peter Doocy asks about that.
Oh my God, I love it.
God bless him for doing it.
Love it.
She was having none of it.
And how is President Biden ever going to convince the 3/4 of voters who are worried about his physical and mental health that he is okay, even though in Las Vegas he told a story about recently talking to a French president who died in 1996.
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you, sir.
What is
We're
the
going
rabbit
to
hole?
Go ahead.
He said
he
talked to Mitterrand.
Go ahead. You saw the president in Vegas, in California. You've seen the president in South Carolina. You saw him in Michigan. I'll just leave it there. Go ahead.
And he looked horrible. That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. He's old. He doesn't know where he is. You guys are constantly feeding him smoothies. What's in them? Oh my God. Do you guys seriously, is there speed? Is there amphetamines in those just to keep him awake? Good Lord, lady. Answer the question. Do your job. God.
Reba Henry, thank you. Reba says she didn't say anything about how credit cards have increased interest rates. Lowe's, Home Depot are now 32%.
Good Lord.
Gosh.
That's
Boy
insane.
Ma, 2 times. Thank you. She says, I live in Vegas and I'm tickled pink. Haley lost to none of the above in the primary. That's right. Trump's name was not on the ticket. The caucus is February 8th. Haley is not who she used to be. That's what a lot of people say. It's what a lot of people say. All right. Gosh, it's already an hour in. My gosh, we still have so much to get to.
We have a hard stop today.
Yeah, today we have a hard stop. So I don't know if we're going to get to talk. So we're going to do our best. But we also need to talk about what happened in the appeals court yesterday, because Trump's attempt to appeal that said, listen, I have presidential immunity, so I can't be bothered with all of these cases right now. That failed in the appellate court. Here is a report to break that down.
So what the court found essentially is that once he stopped being president, Donald Trump became citizen Trump, and he does no longer have immunity from prosecution for acts he committed. Now, this is something that he is likely to appeal. This is only a 3-judge panel on the appellate court that came up with this ruling. We can expect to see him appeal this to the full court and then take it up as far as the Supreme Court. This really is dispositive of a lot of claims. So that it's important to fully litigate this and get the highest court possible, in this case the Supreme Court, to weigh in.
I want to say on this, if I can, Gerard, and maybe you can help me out or help us out here to understand. Again, immunity claims that President Trump versus citizen Trump. But if this is in regards to January 6th, he indeed was president at that time, as Joe Biden has not been sworn in yet.
Well, that's correct, and we have to dissect the rulings and see exactly what the court said. This only broke a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
But the essence of it is that the court did distinguish between acts that are committed in someone's personal capacity and in their capacity as president. So essentially, there is no blanket immunity. There has to be a case-by-case determination, and that is the essence of what we're seeing.
We're going to watch that again. That just coming in, appeals court denying Trump immunity claims, presidential immunity. It's seen as a major win for Jack Smith. Again, weighing in on that, we're dissecting that court decision that has just come in. Obviously, this would be appealed. Gerard Fillety joining us with that. Gerard, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
So that happened, and Trump reacted. Yes.
A president of the United States must have full immunity, without which it would be impossible for her to properly function. Any mistake, even if well-intended, would be met with a certain indictment by the opposing party at term end. Even events that cross the line must fall under total immunity, or it will be years of trauma trying to determine good from bad. There must be certainty. Example, you can't stop police from doing the job of strong and effective crime prevention because you want to guard against the occasional rogue cop or bad apple. Sometimes you just have to live with great but slightly imperfect. All presidents must have complete and total presidential immunity, or the authority and decisiveness of a president of the United States will be stripped and gone forever. Hopefully, this will be an easy decision. God bless the Supreme Court.
And this actually, he tweeted back out. He tweeted this out in January, but this is what everybody was retweeting. This is how he feels and why he took it to the appeals court, who obviously did not agree with him. Now we got to wait for the Supreme Court to make up their minds. And so
it's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be really, really interesting. Meantime, Ted Lieu is such a complete and total scumbag.
He's
and
a
I'm
tool.
going to show you why.
Yeah.
He tried to take the tiniest little piece of a Trump interview to make it sound like Trump was trashing America. And he did it so purposefully. He included a 6-second clip of Trump saying what he said, and without the context, and then went on this Twitter rant about it. Look at this. He's like, unlike Donald Trump, President Joe Biden believes in America.
Oh my God.
POTUS believes in the American people, believes in bipartisanship, and unlike Trump, will never call our country pathetic.
Really?
We're the greatest country in the world. We will not let Trump tear us down. And then, because Biden-Harris headquarters tweeted out just this clip where Trump says America is pathetic, they did not include the full context, and I wanted to make sure that everybody saw it, because it's unbelievable that they would do this. Unbelievable. Here's the full context.
But these are rough guys, and you see them just pounding our police who are laying on the ground.
And they don't even get bail.
And then they get out and they give everybody the finger.
Yeah.
They're giving the finger and cursing at everybody like, we're so pathetic as a country in terms of law and order. We have the greatest police in the world, but they're not allowed to do their jobs. When you have 200 usually young people walk into a department store and totally strip it of everything, walk out with television sets, and the police, are dying to do their work, just like Border Patrol. Right. They're dying to do their work, but they're not allowed to do their work. Rob, they're not allowed to do it. They're not allowed to do anything.
Unbelievable.
That was the full quote. Can you
yeah.
even?
Yeah. What jackholes, man.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously, they'll do anything to get power. They will do anything. They will manipulate. They will do anything they can to get power. That should show you. That shows you everything right there.
Infuriating. So now this clip of that from that same interview was actually about the RNC and like how poorly it's doing. And this happened before the whole Ronna resigning thing came out. So just so you know, this is, I'm sure, what started to lead to her decision, because Trump has not been holding back.
There's a lot of criticism. The fundraising is an issue. Hasn't been a good past couple election cycles at all. 2022 should have been far better than it was. I think we can all agree on that. Is it time for Ronna McDaniel to step aside?
Well, I think she knows that. I think she understands that. And, as far as me is concerned, as far as I'm concerned, I endorsed almost 100% of the Republicans that I endorsed win.
I mean, that's not totally true, but we'll let that that part slide.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's actually kind to her. He's kinder than I would be.
Much kinder than I would be as well.
Because I would actually use the word pathetic to describe her too.
Yeah. He is catching some heat right now because of a tweet that he put out yesterday. Do you want to read this too?
Yeah. Okay. My glasses. Let's see if I can do this. All right. The Bud Light ad was a mistake of epic proportions, and for that, a very big price was paid. But Anheuser-Busch is not a woke company, but I can give you plenty that are, and building a list, and might just release it for the world to see. Why not? The radical left does it viciously to run conservative companies and people. Very nasty, but it's the way they play the game. On the other hand, Anheuser-Busch spends $700 million a year with our great farmers, employs 65,000 Americans, of which 1,500 are veterans, and is a founding corporate partner of Folds of Honor, which provides scholarships for families of fallen servicemen and women. They've raised over $300 million and give 44,000 scholarships. Anheuser-Busch is a great American brand that perhaps deserves a second chance. What do you think? Perhaps instead, we should be going after those companies that are looking to destroy America.
He's getting a lot of flack because he apparently, in just less than a month, is going to be doing a fundraiser with a lobbyist for Anheuser-Busch. And he has $5 million worth of stock in Anheuser-Busch. So people are starting to be like, wait a minute, I thought he was the guy that wasn't beholden to anybody, that didn't care about special interests, that didn't care about what donors were telling him. So there's some heat that he's getting about this, because most people, myself included, Bud Light never apologized. If they had, perhaps I'd feel differently about a second chance, but they never acknowledged that they did anything wrong. Their like lame ass, oh, this didn't go well, was never an apology. And that pisses me off.
Yeah,
that they don't own it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he's catching some heat.
And at this point, I think he probably needs to, as he's running for president, he probably needs to stay out of this stuff.
Yeah, just like don't mention this, especially if you're about to show up with one of their lobbyists at a fundraiser. Like,
right,
it's not a good look.
I'd actually just stay out of that entirely. Just maybe don't. Right.
He did, on the other hand, have a fantastic new campaign ad come out. I think everybody is going to love this one. It is good, you guys. Good, effective, super good.
6 men have been charging that brutal attack caught on camera.
A shocking act of violence. 2 NYPD officers beaten in Times Square. All of those arrested were released without bail.
Why did these 4 individuals be released on their own recognizance?
The Biden administration is fighting to release as many migrants as quickly as possible.
I'll reverse Trump's detrimental asylum policies. There's no need for us.
Biden administration's reverse to Trump's policy on remain in Mexico.
Joe Biden to stop construction of the border wall.
It's a new day on the southern border. Here we go. The policy that made it easy to kick out migrants
It's gone. He inherited the lowest rate of illegal immigration, and he immediately reinstated catch and release. And so when they apprehend people, they let them go.
I'll reverse Trump's detrimental asylum policies.
Exactly. It's so awesome. The problem with this, the only problem is that these ads are not accessible. Like they put them out on like Twitter, they'll put them in like just random places, but say I want to like share it on Instagram. I can't do that. They don't like, you can't even go to Donald Trump's Instagram page. And I couldn't find it yesterday. This is what I hate about these ads. This is our problem on the right. And it's a universal problem. And I see this across the board with a lot of these ads. They're not easily shareable. They're not easily findable. Like they're not accessible. We have got to be better at this as a party. And we just always sucked at this. Like these ads are great, but we'll play it. And it's like, yeah, that's a fantastic ad, but who's gonna make it be shareable? Like it's like it's so hard for people to be like, because I know a lot of people here in the comments would be like, where can I find that? Where can I find it? I want to share it. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Good luck sharing it, because we suck at this.
Well, you just have to clip it out of our long show and start sharing it all over the place.
Yeah, and people are gonna be like, how do I do that? Yeah, well, go find a YouTube clip on how to do that. I mean, it's ridiculous. It should be easily accessible and shareable, and we should be able to do that as a party.
Yeah. I saw it on Twitter, if that helps.
Just drives me.
I can't remember where, but
not everybody's on Twitter is my point. And it drives me insane that they don't do this better from a communications perspective. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. So there's a lot of hullabaloo, as you probably all know, about Tucker being in Moscow and having a sit down with President Putin. So there is mixed reviews. People are furious that he's going. They're calling him a traitor. They're suggesting, as we showed you yesterday, Bill Kristol is suggesting he not even be allowed back into the country. This is despite the fact that CNN and NBC and others have obviously interviewed President Putin. Megyn Kelly even sat down with President Putin in the past. This is not new that journalists interview unsavory characters.
Right.
And so we'll get to Tucker's teaser about it, because I'm not actually sure when it drops. I'm hoping it's sometime today, but I don't know. And we'll get to that in a second. But first, you have to see how jealous Jen Psaki is of Tucker, because she is trying to call him irrelevant.
Isn't that hilarious?
Jen Psaki.
Right.
Do you guys even remember who she is?
I know.
God,
Right.
I mean, look at how much she is seething.
Carlson is now just another far-right conspiracy peddler with a show on the internet. He's no longer on Fox, as we all know.
Show on the
and he's
internet.
apparently been spending the last few days in Moscow for some reason. Who knows? We don't know why. He has to stay relevant somehow, so I guess we'll learn in the coming days. Maybe.
God.
Americans have...
I mean, he kicks her ass when it comes to views.
Oh
on,
my God.
on his little show on the internet.
Right, on his itty bitty internet show.
Bless your
my
heart,
gosh.
Jen. Bless your little heart. Good Lord.
So he is in Russia. He did do the sit down, and he explains why in a much longer clip. This isn't the whole thing. You can see that on his channel or on Twitter or whatever, but we'll play the key part of it right here.
Maybe.
Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in. And we have the right to tell them about it because we are Americans too. Freedom of speech is our birthright. We were born with the right to say what we believe. That right cannot be taken away no matter who is in the White House. But they're trying anyway. Almost 3 years ago, the Biden administration illegally spied on our text messages and then leaked the contents to their servants in the news media. They did this in order to stop a Putin interview that we were planning. Last month, we're pretty certain they did exactly the same thing once again. But this time, we came to Moscow anyway. We are not here because we love Vladimir Putin. We are here because we love the United States, and we want it to remain prosperous and free. We paid for this trip ourselves. We took no money from any government or group, nor are we charging people to see the interview. It is not behind a paywall. Anyone can watch the entire thing, shot live to tape and unedited, on our website, tuckercarlson.com. Elon Musk, to his great credit, has promised not to suppress or block this interview once we post it on his platform, X, and we're grateful for that. Western governments, by contrast, will certainly do their best to censor this video on other less principled platforms because that's what they do. They are afraid of information they can't control. But you have no reason to be afraid of it. We are not encouraging you to agree with what Putin may say in this interview. but we are urging you to watch it. You should know as much as you can. And then, like a free citizen and not a slave, you can decide for yourself. Thanks.
Bravo.
Yeah. So I'm so nervous about this for him because I just having watched him interview Andrew Tate, who is a complete scumbag, and seeing how soft he was, I just want him to be tough. This is a former KGB stone cold killer. This is not a good person. Putin is not a good person, and he's very, very good at propaganda and saying things that he knows people on the right are going to gobble up and eat with a spoon. And that is what the entire Russian press now is salivating over. They are so thrilled that Tucker is there. That's why they've treated him so well. And that's why they're already saying this is going to cause a civil war in the United States. They are like absolutely salivating.
Yeah,
over
but
it.
like I told you before the show, if the border didn't cause a civil war, this interview is not going to cause a civil war. I mean, it's just not. I appreciate the fact that he's doing the work of what many journalists in this country should have already done. You know, it's like journalism is dead in this country. So God bless him for doing work that should already have been done. You know,
well, but to be fair, also, there are like a lot of reporters who are like, we have been demanding and requesting and putting in requests for an interview with Putin for years, and we can't get one. He will not give us one. So the fact that he's chosen Tucker specifically is part of the plan. And so I just want everybody, because I'm excited too, but I want everybody to be going into this knowing that this is about propaganda. Like that's the purpose of this. And people should see through Putin for that. And they shouldn't just be like, oh my God, Putin says Zelensky's bad. Okay, well, then it's bad. You know what I mean? Like they're both bad. Like Zelensky is bad. Putin is bad.
I think most people know that they're both bad. I mean, I would hope that most people on our side of the aisle know that both of them are bad.
They do not know that. I've seen so much of this on Twitter going, see, this is great because now people see that Putin's not the bad guy here. I mean, it's already happening. And
I think it's
stuff that Russia is salivating
I don't
over.
claim allegiance to either one of those asshats.
You don't. But the point is, propaganda works on stupid people. That's the danger. And that's why I hope that this interview is tough and not just a softball. Like
okay. I mean, I hear you, but as it has stood up to this point, Mop, we've gotten one side. And the one side is Russia bad, Ukraine. We need to give more money to Ukraine. Give all your money to Ukraine and screw our border, screw our country. Ukraine. Oh, and put a flag on your Facebook profile and wear a pin that's a Ukrainian pin. And that's what Democrats are doing. So, you know, it's nice for people thinking rational, critically thinking people to be able to see a 2-hour interview, a sit down. And kind of like what he says, it's a free. I should be able to freely think.
You should,
and decide for myself what I believe about things.
I totally agree. I'm not saying this shouldn't happen. I'm saying I worry that Tucker is going to be soft. That's the problem, and that I think is why Putin granted this interview to begin with. They're doing this on purpose. They're doing it not because I'm saying you guys are stupid. If you don't know that we share this country with stupid people, I don't know what to tell you, but there are plenty of stupid people that are going to lap this up in exactly the way that Putin wants them to. And that is why we just have to go into this looking at that, like knowing that, recognizing that. And I'm seeing way too many people on the right not doing that on Twitter. This is what I worry about.
The bottom line is they're both bad. Both countries are corrupt. Both of them.
Yes.
Are. And we shouldn't be involved at all in any
and
of
there
this
should
stuff.
be more speech and there should be more, more power to him for doing this. Like this is great. And there should be more information, always more. And that's like why Lex Friedman wants to talk to both of them. And I hope that both grant him an interview. That would be amazing. The more that we hear from everybody, the better. It's just that I just fear that there's a lot of really dumb people out there.
Well,
that
let's just maybe see the interview first before we make those, judgments.
Well, I don't have to. That's the point. They're already saying it before the interview is even dropped. So I'm not saying this is not about you guys. This is about all the people that I'm seeing all over who are salivating about this in the worst possible way. It's scary how dumb some people are. It's really, really It's really scary. Now, before and I don't know when this drops, but before the interview actually happened, he's been all over Moscow. He's getting wined and dined. He's gotten to go to the opera or whatever. Some reporter found him, or maybe it wasn't even a reporter. Some dude found him in a parking garage. And Tucker totally trolled this guy. And how he does that like Amadeus laugh at the end, how he'll just throw out that laugh that's so
he guffaws. He guffaws.
He totally guffaws. And at the end of that, at the end of his trolling, he does it, and it's the very best thing ever. You'll see it.
Can I ask you about your interview with Putin?
With who?
With Putin.
I've heard the name, but
With our president Putin.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I can't say his name. Thank you, though.
I mean,
oh my God!
I will watch the entire thing.
Oh, I'm going to absolutely gobble it up. Absolutely
the
gobble it up.
entire thing. Right.
But just he's gonna. Man, I hope he's okay. You know what I mean? Because this is one of those things that our government, it scares me, man. The fact that they were spying on him to begin with.
Yeah.
Like that they were spying on him, that they were like warning him the last
time
that he was thinking about doing this.
They're spying on all of us. They're spying on all of us. That's why I love him, is that he sheds light on the fact that, none of us are safe. Like they're doing it to all of us. How is that okay? How is any of that okay? I mean, when you think
telling me to stop it. This is my show and I'm going to say what I think. That's why I think you guys watch, is because you want us to actually say what we think. I'm going to keep doing that. So stop telling me to stop. Where's my raccoon? Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do.
It's true. I'm not sure why would you tell her to stop? She's,
because they don't like what I'm saying. And I'm going to still say stuff, and I get that people aren't going to agree, but don't ever fucking tell me to stop saying stuff.
Right. Ever. I don't understand why people would say that.
God.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, you're here for a reason. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Just you stop. Yeah, Michelle, I will say all the things. Okay, and you know who else is saying all the things? This president of El Salvador, who, by the way, I think he just won re-election or is about to win re-election, like by a huge landslide, because he has completely shut down crime in El Salvador. El Salvador is now safer than the United States.
I believe it.
It's incredible.
It doesn't take much, Mock.
I know.
I mean,
right?
come on. Yeah.
And, people like the bleeding hearts will be like, he's so mean to prisoners, whatever. There's now a deterrent. And people don't want to commit crimes because they know that they're going to face the absolute worst circumstances possible in prison.
It goes back to the whole disciplining your kids thing. It goes back to that. It's like, if you actually show a deterrent, if you say there's going to be consequences for your actions, go figure. People, FAFO, man. FAFO. People understand that. Yeah.
I know. Okay, so somebody's saying he already won by 85%. I mean, that's amazing because people appreciate what he has done to ensure their safety. That's his job.
Yeah.
To ensure the safety of his citizens. Now, I don't know
take a lesson from that.
This interview is actually not new, but it is when he was on with Tucker back in the day when Tucker, I think, still had his like Fox News, or not his show, but this is like his, his like backstage show, whatever that is.
It's like a little podcast thing that he had with Fox, like Fox Nation or something.
Yeah. And so this was an interesting conversation because he is saying that the only way to destroy America is by people within America. And it is just a chilling thing to hear him say that.
Yeah, it's the only rational explanation. And that's why I tweeted one time that the USA is too powerful to be destroyed from the outside. Actually, geographically, nobody can invade the U.S., the United States. Nobody. I mean, even if huge armies will collude and want to attack the U.S., it's impossible. I mean, you have to cross all the ocean, all the Pacific Ocean and all the Atlantic Ocean just to get to the shore. I mean, it's impossible, right? And the U.S. has military bases, so it's impossible. So the only way the U.S. can fail, and this is not my my analysis. This was made by by presidents before, by U.S. presidents before. The demise of the U.S. has to come from within. Right? The enemies have to be inside, not really outside. No external enemy can cause so much damage as internal. It's an internal operation. And you're watching internal operations here. You can see them in cities that were pristinely beautiful 30 years ago are wastelands right now. You would see people. I mean, I'm from El Salvador, a third world country in Central America, and myself, I can see cities here and say, I want to live here. So that would be unthinkable 3 decades ago. Totally unthinkable. That a Salvadoran wouldn't want to live in a U.S. city, in a U.S. main city. I mean, Los Angeles, San
New York,
Francisco,
Chicago. Yeah.
Well, Philadelphia, Baltimore. When you look how the cities are eroding so fast, this has.
Yeah.
That's just terrifying.
And then you add on top of that, so we're doing it to ourselves, right? Democrats.
Yeah.
Democrat-run cities are doing it, right? So you add on top of that all the people that we've let in via illegal immigration and the sleeper cells that are all over the country right now. And you know what? And this is the thing. Democrats will say, that's not happening. That's not happening. And then when it happens, they're going to be like, oh my God, blame Trump.
Right. Exactly.
This is what they're going to do. Just seriously, mark my words. They're going to blame Republicans when we get attacked from within because of these sleeper cells that are all over by Chinese nationals, when it's Al Qaeda, whoever it is, Middle Eastern, whatever. Anybody that's like, they're all here. They're here right now in cities. Like, you can say that I'm a tinfoil hat wearer or whatever. Go ahead and call me that. Somebody just called me the C word earlier today. So I don't really care. I don't care. It's happening right now. And then when it happens, they'll blame us.
This is their MO. I mean, we've seen it before. Foolery. Thank you. Tim says, don't stop, Mock. Love you both. See y'all in Indy. Yes, we will see you there. And Michelle just sent us Venmo. Michelle said, don't ever stop. And then all kinds of kissing and hearts and prayer hands. You guys,
we won't
you.
Stop.
And don't. We won't. I'll get mad at people, but I'm not going to stop.
No, we won't stop.
All right. Okay. We've got 9 minutes. Okay. We're okay. I don't think we're going to get talks, but we might.
Well, just don't do my double D. Don't do that. Just do talks.
We still have a few other things to get to, like this unbelievable story from the Libs of TikTok. This is two actual, and it doesn't matter that you can't see the whole thing. I saw them. I looked. This 2 job postings in the same city. I think this was in Minnesota. Yeah, Minnetonka, Minnesota. One is for a firefighter, an on-call firefighter, which pays $15 to $19 an hour. The other is to be a DEI intern, and you get $22 an hour. So firefighters who are literally saving lives do not make what a DEI intern makes.
Unreal.
I couldn't believe this when I saw it. I was so pissed off.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow. This is priorities, right? This is, and it goes back to that guy talking about the demise of our cities. That's why. That's part of the reason. America with a K. America.
I'm so mad about it.
I know.
Okay. And then before we get to DD, because that's a super sweet story.
Okay.
This is an amazing. I don't know who this kid is. I don't know his name, but I saw this floating around social media. This is when he was 7, this little boy decided when he was 7 that he wanted to be a sportscaster. Okay. And now at 11 years old, he is a freaking pro. And so he's being interviewed to talk about his love for sportscasting. You guys are going to love him. He is 11. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Well, I started to do this at the age of 7 years old because I wasn't able to play sports due to some medical issues, but I still like the sports environment, so I decided to hone my craft in journalism at the age of 7, and I started my YouTube channel. And yes, I do think that I can keep this as a career because I do still love the sport and I do know a lot about it, so I think that interviewing people could be a long career for me.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. MJD, you in trouble, bro. I got one more question for you. Okay, the Chiefs are about to come out. Okay, who Who are you most excited to ask a question to?
I mean, I'm honestly excited to interview everybody. I mean, they've proved that they're the top teams in the league. So it's really just great to be able to talk to everybody.
I love it. We're going to have a ball out here tonight, guys.
He's so serious. Did you see the seriousness on his face? He's like, I am all business, man. Don't be laughing. I got a job to do.
He is my new favorite boy.
He is precious.
So cute.
So precious. Oh my God.
So cute. Also, everybody needs to be aware about this certain brand of green beans because a woman who just opened up, like frozen green beans, how much we eat those all the time.
We do too.
She opened up her frozen green beans, poured them in a skillet, and there was a snake head in the green beans, you guys.
No.
An actual snake head. Do you see it? This is in a pan of giant food frozen green beans in Atlanta, Georgia. Do you see the snake head right in the middle?
Yeah, I see it. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So just be careful and make sure to look at what you're cooking.
Did you guys also see that there was a bunch of recall on a bunch of Whole Foods dairy products, on a bunch of cheese?
Really?
If you shop at Whole Foods, and I think it was some other grocery store. I can't remember the other grocery store, but it was Whole Foods. And it was a lot of just different kinds of cheeses. So you may want to check that out online if you guys shop at Whole Foods, because it was a lot. It was like 6 different kinds of cheeses, like ricotta and stuff like that. And it was bad. It had listeria in it.
Oh my God. Well, and somebody was like, what happened to the rest of the snake? That's the great question.
Oh my God. God.
I do not know.
So gross.
Anyway, I just had to share it because I saw it, so you had to see it too.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Now it's time for Didi's.
Okay. Well, this is just a really sweet, but you could just show it. It's just like a really sweet.
Do I mute this? I forget.
It's a doctor. Right? This guy's in his element. This is who should become a doctor, is this guy. This guy is, he does prosthetics for children. You need to mute it because there's music.
Okay.
But I saw this and I was like, this, I mean, look, he brings the He brings the prosthetic over on a little truck with balloons, which is precious. And this little boy is fitted with this new prosthetic. But look at that doctor. Like, we've been dissing doctors lately, but this is the kind of guy.
But he's older.
He's older. Yeah.
He's older.
He's in the right profession. I mean, he enjoys what he does. Look at that precious little boy.
Oh my gosh.
He fits in for his prosthetic. I mean, the way that he delivered, he's like, I'm going to pick you up. He just loves what he does. I just love this whole thing. Look at him
go. Oh my gosh.
I just loved it. Look at the joy on the doctor's face, And that's why I was like, can you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Look at him. He's so happy. I just thought that was the sweetest thing, because it wasn't just
the sweetest.
It wasn't just the little boy and the mama. It was the doctor. He was just so delighted, and that made me happy because I'm like, okay, they're really good doctors. There are great doctors out there. Most of them are over the age of 40, but it's fine. It's fine, you guys.
We're
out there.
Gonna be fine.
We're all gonna be good. I thought that was so sweet. Mm-hmm.
It is. Okay. I have a hard stop, so we can't do talks today.
We can't do talks, you guys.
Tomorrow.
She has an appointment. Let me see. I don't think, we're not going to do Astrid either because we got to go.
Really?
We're going to
we've got 3 minutes. It just wasn't long enough to get into talks.
I have a gift. I got to show people. It's from Via. Look, you guys, for Valentine's Day, Via got me. Look at this blanket. Isn't that the sweetest blanket? It has dogs all over it. And it's so soft. I love it. You guys, I am all about the blanket. So I love this. My daughter already said I'm commandeering that. Like I'm taking it. So
and
Gwen's
Valentine's blanket? What could be better?
Right. And then when she got us a bunch of candy, which I'm going to eat promptly.
Oh my gosh.
I think I feel like you probably have some stuff coming, but Via, thank you so much. You're so sweet and you spoil us and you don't need to do that. Even though I loved it. Even though I'm going to eat the Reese's like right after when we get off of here, that's the first thing I'm going to do is eat like 4 Reese's for breakfast. So thank you guys.
All right, tomorrow is an okay day, right? Like we can make
it's a good day.
For
we'll make up for it.
A good day. We'll make up
tomorrow.
For
it. Tomorrow.
I mean, I have to leave like right after the show, but we can make it however long. It's fine.
Right. We don't have a lot going. I don't think I gave everybody hugs. So here's my hugs. Everybody have hugs. We'll get out of here and we'll have a normal show tomorrow. I mean, it's pretty normal today. We just have a hard stop. So you guys have a great Wednesday and we will talk to you tomorrow.